students, you are expected to make notes, and for the purpose of that, this recording is done. Because at the time of the examination, if when you will take your textbook and will start reading each and everything, that is going to be very difficult for you. So prepare your own notes wherever you feel like this point is important. Note it down, okay? And whatever point you miss, that you can go back and check. Now we had already discussed about the early middle ages. Yes, what the points we have discussed in the early middle ages in the last lecture? Fast. Come on, fast. Last lecture, what we all had discussed.
How there was development of sciences taking place, where there were different
Yes, how the
philosophers.
development of science is taken. We had discussed about the philosopher, and what one important point you are missing, children. It is also known as this age is also
The
known
da-
as why? Why? Very good.
because
The dark age is
all the information regarding sciences were only in the monasteries.
very good. Excellent answer. So this dark age, in this particular era, the knowledge was not means present into the local people like we. So then, who have given or who have started the local public knowledge? Yes, Charles Magne. Remember?
Yeah, the
We
prince.
had discussed that yes, when he became the king, that time he undertook that whatever knowledge is there, he started making the program of educational reformation, then university and all. So now one more limitation was there in that particular area, that whatever knowledge was present, it was present in which language? Yes,
In
in
Latin.
Latin to later transformation translation was done. All the knowledge was present in the Greek language
Greek
only,
Greek
language.
language.
either Greek or the Arabic. But Arabic is not mentioned because it was more and more restricted into the Arabian people only. But whatever knowledge in the form of book was published, that was present into the Greek only. So if even the Latin thinkers or Latin scientists they want to study, they have to translate these books. Then only, or they must know the Greek language. Then only they can get the information. The major work in that period we have discussed about the Chalcidas, then Chalcidius, then Aristotle. This all we have seen. Then basically knowledge was not like universities, schools, and all. They were having the proper religious school, and in the religious school, they were studying, and whatever studying. Means whatever knowledge they were getting was the religious knowledge only, but apart from that they understood that we are falling sick and they started treatment and then they started recording. So from here the medical branch was evolved. Then we have seen that they required proper prayer timing, so this led them the curiosity about the motion movement of the motion and star. From here the science of motion and star was started. Then they wanted to compute the data for their whatever information is there. Then from here the mathematical branch was start, right? We all have discussed about all this abstract inquiry led to the various field of the science. So now this is all about the middle ages where the initial development was done, but around 1050 European scholars they built their own existing knowledge, and they have seek out all this ancient learning in the Greek and Arabic texts. Now they all translated everything into the Latin. Now we have seen the starting of the translation was done in the early middle ages only. So now they encountered the wide range of the classical Greek texts. Now, whatever their interest was there, we have seen that they have translated. Suppose if someone is interested into the motion of moon and stars, so they have translated that part only. So they this led to the discovery of the various wings of the science, and many Islamic thinkers, they have done their independent work, but then knowledge again was restricted into the Arabic knowledge, so that translation is also done in that area. The period saw the birth of the medieval universities. This is the important point. जैसे कि हम लोग last period remember with the dark ages, तो इस particular period को we will be remembering with the name of the medieval universities. यहाँ पर बहुत सारे universities बनने वाले हैं. Then we have seen that Aristotle, he has done a lot, so his work discovery is done in this particular era. In And after that, new Christian philosophy and method of the scholasticism was done around 1200. Reasonable, accurate Latin translation of the main work of Aristotle, Euclid, Archimedes, and others was done during 13th century. What happened? Whatever natural philosophy and text, whatever studies they have done, so they make with the experiment they expand their knowledge, and they started university and all in this particular area. Now this is the period when the Holy Roman Empire, they were starting the university, and the name or the title of the university was given as the Studium Generale. And this particular, all these teachers or the professors, they were allowed to give lectures at the other institute across the Europe, to share the document, to share the knowledge. Now here proper professors, or you can say the people, the lecturer, the thinkers were there, and they were not like so much restrictions were not there. जैसे कि previous era में we all have seen that monasteries were only having the knowledge, and they were not allowed to take the knowledge outside. But here, these European thinkers, they were allowed all over the Europe. They can go and they can spread the knowledge. They can share the documents. So scholastic believed into the empiricism and supporting the Roman Catholic doctrines through the secular study, reason, and the logic. So this is the important point. Note it down that they believe in the secular study, reason, and this logic. Say example, this Grosseteste, he emphasized on the mathematics as a way to understand the nature. Then Bacon, he plays emphasis on the empirical approach. Now see, earlier also we'll have seen they have imparted knowledge as per their interest. So they started doing the investigation into the optics. Now this Bacon, he did major contribution to the development of science into the medieval Europe by writing to the Pope, head of the Roman Church, to encourage the study of natural science in university courses. So, because in the earlier ages, university was there, but their course was related to the religious knowledge only. So, he emphasized that there must be natural science must be included as the part of the syllabus. He compiled several volumes recording to the state of scientific knowledge in many fields at that time. So he described the possible construction of a telescope, but there is no strong evidence of his having such telescope or not. But still, these are the ideas which was done into the high middle age. Now, see, student, with age, as we will go ahead into the era, you will find that more and more advancement are done in that. So, for this particular age, what thing we will remember, that Greek and Arabic book were translated into Latin. Their work, especially the Aristotle work, was rediscovered. Then after that, they Roman Catholic, they, whatever doctrines was there, they were believed into the secular study, reason, and logic. And one name we need to remember, that is the Roger Bacon. As so he has given idea, or he has written to the church. Now see, in the earlier time they were only head, the Pope, they were only head. So he wrote them, whatever natural science study is there, it must be added into the university courses. So these are the outcome of the high middle age. Now we will learn about the next age, or we will go forward, that is the late middle age. Okay, when we talk about the late middle age, so the first half of the 14th century, There was a scientific work of the great thinker, then logic study by the William Occam that led him to postulate a specific formulation of principle of parsimony, which is today known as the Occam's razor. This principle is one of the main heuristic used by the modern science to select between two or more underdetermined theories. So this name we will remember. Now, at that time, Western scholars they become more aware of the controversial scientific treatise of this Byzantine Islamic empires. So all these things will giving new spark, new insight, and the new speculation. The work of the early people or early scholars, this was the basic idea, especially the wisdom of Aristotle mechanism. This all led to the development of the new science, and at that particular time, late middle age, you will remember the subject physics was started, and that was known as the Buridantist physics by the writers such as John Cantius and the Poland. Now, this they developed the theory of impetus, which was step toward the modern concept of inertia. Now we know the concept of you all are art student, otherwise science students know the concept of the inertia very well. This is a physics concept. It is a new concept, and but modern concept की starting कहाँ से हुई from the theory of the impetus which was developed into the olden or the late middle ages by the Britain. Now Thomas Bradwardine and his associate they distinguished the kinematics from the dynamics. Kinematics and dynamics distinguish. It is done by the Thomas Bradwardine. He emphasized the kinematics and investigating the instantaneous velocity. What is velocity, student?
The speed of any object.
Speed of any object. Any other answer for this?
Displacement per
How much
unit
dis
time.
how much displacement is done in
Yes,
one
it is
second?
the distance upon time. So he has given the idea of that velocity. Now, see, earlier time kinematics they were just formulating that there is a speed theorem, but he cleared about the instantaneous velocity. They formulated the mean speed theorem that a body moving with the constant velocity they travel a distance and equal to an accelerated body whose velocity is half of the final speed of the accelerated body. It means, what do you mean by acceleration?
Velocity upon time.
Hmm?
Velocity upon time.
Rate of change of velocity is called acceleration.
Yes, so both are correct. Rate of change of velocity is also called as the acceleration. So that time they observe that the speed is changing, velocity is also changing. So what is that? So they discovered that small concept building was done at that particular time with this we can see. So they also demonstrated their theorem also by the assist of the law of falling bodies long before the Galileo. Now we know that the Galileo has done a lot in this particular field, but at that time, till that, what was their velocity? Was there? They have given what is the moving body, and if the moving body is constant with sorry, if the moving body is moving with the constant velocity, so that particular time distance and time will be equal, but sometime it happens that the velocity is changes. So why it is, if it is changing, so what is happening? So they gave the term acceleration that particular time. Then Nicole Oresme he showed that the reason proposed by the physics of Aristotle against the movement of earth. Now they have explained that the earth is moving, and if it is moving, what is the speed and all. Now see, in before the middle age only we have seen there was one of the thinker, he has discovered about the earth, a this geographer, Eratosthenes, we all remember his study when we were talking about the various philosophers. So that time we have seen that he was the one who was successfully calculated the circumference of the Earth. So he has given the idea that the Earth is having circumference is 25,000 mile and it rotates about in about 24 hours 30 kilometer per second. So that discovery was done before the middle age only, but at this particular age, that means the time um, of your late middle age, they have given the idea about the movement of the earth long before the Galileo. Then we have Nicole Olsen. He showed that the earth is moving, and he has given the idea that earth is not only moving to its own axis, but other it is having it is responsible for the purpose of the change into the climate also. Then open society, individuals were free to pursue individual happiness and the liberty. Now see, in the ancient time the people were not so free, but now people started enjoying their freedom. Are you following? So individual, they were free, they were happy, they were having the liberty, they were having the knowledge. So this was the idea in medieval world, was the quite happy world. Earlier stage we have seen is just like the dark world. Politically and socially imperial concepts of the medieval world were abandoned that particular time. This is the age of reason. It included the short time period described as the Age of Enlightenment. During this time, great changes occur into the scientific thought and lots of exploration of knowledge was there. New ideas filled the horizon. And now see, if we are getting a little bit knowledge, so we will be eager to explore more and more ideas, right? So here the people, they wanted to learn more, new discoveries were there. This is also called as the age of enlightenment. Why? Because historical intellectual movement of the 18th century, this movement, that means they have established a new authoritative system of ethics, aesthetic, and the knowledge. So this is all about your middle age. The intellectual leader, whatever was there, they started themselves as the means they were trying to make the people courageous. Whatever doubtful tradition and irrational superstition, tyranny was there, there was they were trying to remove all these things. This movement also provide a framework for American and French revolutions. The Latin American and independence movement and the Polish constitution also led to the rise of capitalism and the birth of socialism. A little bit history part is given in the syllabus after the discovery. There's at this particular age how the other thing or other eras were influenced in the case of the knowledge. At the age of the enlightenment, this was followed by the romanticism into the science, the romantic movement of the early 19th century that was reshaped science by opening up new pursuits unexpected into the classical approach of the enlightenment. Then there are major breakthroughs into the biology, especially the Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. Can anyone tell me what is the Charles Darwin's theory of evolution?
That the fittest will survive.
Very good. Charles Darwin was is also known as the father of evolution. Now, see, he was the one who has explained that the Earth was not like, matlab, not like same as the earlier time. The people, those who were fit, they only survive, and those who were not fit, they are extinct from the environment. So his revolutionary work led a new branch into the biology, as well as in the case of physics. There was the discovery of the electromagnetism. In the case of the mathematics, non-Euclidean geometry, group theory. In the chemistry, organic chemistry has evolved. The decline of romanticism occurred because a new movement, positivism, began to take hold of the ideals of intellectual after 1840. ईयर यहाँ पे याद रखेंगे, एंड इट लास्टेड अबाउट 1880. So this all thing was done at the time of the science into the late middle age. So what we will remember everything in this development into the science middle ages. See, development of science in middle age is a very important topic. Now we will remember in the early middle age what happened. It was the dark age. Knowledge was there, but it was only into the monasteries. It was not given to the local people, and whatever books were there, that books were, I don't know whether intentionally or for what purpose, or maybe they may not be knowing the other language. It was specially written into the Greek language, and it was with the that time educational thinkers only. Although they have done lots of discovery, we have seen they have done a lot many new theories. We have learned about the earlier philosophers into the early lecture, but all the knowledge was not been recorded. But whatever was recorded, it was recorded into the Greek language only. And after that, when the Latin people, or you can say the Europeans, they wanted to learn, they just find out all those books, and this documentation was translated into the high middle ages. And in the high middle ages, especially Aristotle's work was rediscovered. And after that, we have learned about the Bacon also. We have seen that his work was rediscovered, and he has given the theory in the case of the science. So his theory was investigation into the optics, and he was the one who wanted that the natural science should be added as a course into the university. He wrote to the Pope, and that particular time scholar, they believe into the secular study, they believe into the reasoning, they believe into the logic. Then in the late middle age, we have learned that now new concepts like inertia, then your velocity, acceleration, then we have discussed law of falling bodies, then other areas of the physics have been arrived. Individuals, they were free to get the knowledge, they were free to spread the knowledge. So this all discovery was creating more and more curiosity among the people. People started thinking about it, and they slowly stop getting rid of all the superstitious belief what they all were having. Now they started reasoning for each and everything. So this knowledge brought the curiosity, this knowledge brought the happiness, or you can say the sense of freedom among the people, and they started learning. And all this led to the age of enlightenment and intellectual movement of the 18th century. In the 18th century, then this all they started learning American, French, all they started learning, and they build new concept. Major breakout was Charles Darwin theory of evolution, then physics में electromagnetism, in mathematics non Euclidean geometry, group theory in chemistry, organic chemistry. And there was a decline of romanticism because of new movement, positivism was there. And after that, people started looking into a positive attitude after 1840, and last until about 1880, the this thing was there. Matlab, this curiosity, when people started learning, they get more and more. As you all are in BA now, right? SYBA. So whatever studies you are doing, you wanted to know more and more in your subject. So this way, they were also very curious to know more and more. So this is all about development of science. Next lecture, we will be talking about some scientists. For this note, for this lecture, we'll stop now. We'll have a discussion.